Right, let's get some of these crowds moving with Niagara. So I'm just going to create a basic emitter that has them walking around in a circle. To do that, we'll go into our plugins directory, and in our plugins directory, our Overcrowd plugins directory, we have our blueprints folder, and in here we have this crowd emitter base. Now this will house the emitter itself, the Niagara emitter, but it has all this extra bookkeeping and stuff like that that hooks into the Overcrowd system that populates the Niagara emitter with all the meshes that are needed for the characters. Right, so let's just create a child blueprint. Not that we actually need to, but if we want to add some extra bits and bobs to it afterwards, it's just handy to sort of do that. So create a child blueprint class. Walk around, we'll call it. And I'll move it to the main project. Got this folder here. The other thing that we need to do is make a copy of. So in the blueprints we have base, and there is a couple of emitters here. So we'll just make a copy of the crowd fountain. So I'll just move it over to Niagara and copy instead of move. Right, so we'll call this crowd walk. My hands are so cold I can't type. It's like -7 out there today in Glasgow. Right, just rename this also. Right, so we'll go into our. Oh, that's not the crowd emitter base. No, we don't want that. We want our new one, and we will give the crowd emitter Niagara system the one we just created. So fx walk around. Oh, I've got another one there. Must have been one I did earlier. Right. So if I drag this out, nothing will happen. We need to hit repopulate and refresh this button here, and we'll get our fountain because we were copying the fountain. The other way you can do it is actually there's a details panel in the emitter, and there's a refresh button here. A couple of little things that come for free. Number of animations. Oh no, I've got like 5 or 6 animations that are attached. So this will randomly choose an animation. I need to hit repopulate. Yeah, so they've got the 5 different animations there. The other thing we can do is select that. We can have an include list, or I'll just have just the manis. And yeah, there we go. Right. Let's edit the crowd system itself, the Niagara system. So we need to get rid of a few things. All right, the spawn rate. Get rid of the spawn rate. Shape location. The add velocity. And we don't need scale, gravity, drag, collisions. We will need the soul forces and velocity later, but not right now. And then we shall spawn them in a grid. Spawn particles in grid. Fix issue. Now, grid location needs to go at the bottom here, or it doesn't work for some reason. There's a lot of things in Niagara that just sort of, a lot of voodoo going on in the background. Who knows what's going on? All right, so compile, and let's see. Oh, actually, let's spawn particles in grid and go. Let's do 10 by 10 by 1. And the grid location will do an offset of what, 50? No, 100. Let's do. And coordinate space, let's give it the simulation. Okay, there we go. Look at that. A little bit too tightly packed, I would say. So what's that? 200? And 0. There we go. That's a bit better. Oh yeah, the spawning, right? We need to also, because the fountain was killing them off, so we need to change our particle state. Kill particles when lifetime has expired. And also the emitter state is infinite. Loop behavior. Let the emitters kill. Okay. Right, so we need to, that's once. Emitter state is once. Once, and that looks like the right thing. Now we should just have them permanently standing around doing what they're doing. Okay. Let's change the animation. So we've got them all randomly, animating from the, from the 6 animations that we have set in this animation set. So let's get rid of that. So we go down to animation index, and I beg your pardon. It's down here in particle update. We've got animation index here, A and B. So we'll just delete that. And animation index 0 is idle, and animation index B is walk on my in this particular case. So I'll go 0 to 1. And the blend is 0. If I look here, it's set to 0. So they should all be standing around. That's right. Good, good. And if I go to blend animation alpha 1, then they should all be walking. And just for shits and giggles, go 0.5. They should be half walking. Or even, let's do a random value between 0 and 1. Random float range 0 and 1. Yep, cool. So they'll be all now there should be all different variations of walking. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them walking around a circle at different speeds, and the faster they are walking, the more of the walking animation will play, and the slower they are, the more will favor the idle, so their feet don't slide when they walk. So we need a walking max walking distance and walking speed variables. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Actually, no, I'm not getting ahead of myself. Let's do that. Add in set particles, we'll go, we'll set a max walking speed. We'll add it to the particle. So add a float, rename the float, F2, max walking speed. I just know from before stuffing around the walking speed is about 200. That's like 2 meters, 2.3 meters a second. The walking animation. So yeah, for that one, that's what it is. Okay, and then we need to set the walking speed, and we'll do that randomly. So we'll do another float. See, the reason why I'm coming down here in the second one, so we set the max walking speed here, and then we set the random walking speed to be between 0 and max walking speed. So that's why it needs to be in the separate. I don't know if it needs to be, but it makes sense to me to do it that way. So it sets it here first, and then it sets this one. Okay, so random range and float, minimum 0, maximum should be, actually, maybe minimum should be at least something. So I'm not just standing there. And max walking speed. Right, so we have minimum of 10 and maximum of max walking speed. There's no visible, nothing's visible has happened there. So now we need to calculate the velocity based on their walking speed. So to do that, I'll go into particle update and we'll add a scratch pad. And we'll call it walking speed. Let's calc walking speed. No, what's walking velocity? Velocity, because velocity has a direction and speed doesn't, if you remember your physics. Righty, so we need to grab the position of the particle. Position, and the position of the emitter. Is it simulation? Position, there we go, simulation position. Great. We're going to subtract the simulation position from the position. That will give us a vector. If we normalize it, will give us a vector. A normalized vector, that is. And then we need to cross that, do a cross product. With a up vector, and then that will give us the direction that the particle is pointing. So we need to inject that into particle velocity. I'll just type in velocity, particles velocity, but I'll need to multiply it by the walking speed. Because it is a velocity vector. So right now it's just a normalized vector. We need to give it some length. Right, so we'll make that input parameter, so just a float, and we'll call it walking speed. And we'll multiply that with the walking speed. And in we go. So apply scratch. We'll need to set the walking speed in our emitter. So here we have walking velocity. Actually, we need solve forces under that. Walking velocity, and we give it our walking speed that we created up here. All right, I wonder if that does anything. Let's have a look. Oh, they are going in the wrong direction. I know what I did. All right, let's go back to all right, so let's have a look at our little algorithm. Here we go. There we go. That wasn't an up vector, that was some diagonal vector. Right. There we go. Right, they're walking around and around. Now they need to perhaps face the direction they're walking to give it a, some kind of a semblance that it's not AI generated. Generative AI, I mean. Right, so we need to override the mesh orientation. Okay, you're just going to have to go with me here if you don't know your maths. But yeah, let's break the vector. And then we need to do the arc tangent to this one. All right, the A is usually the Y, an arc tangent. And the period will be pi times 2, so 3.14159 times 2. There we go, it's done it nicely for us. Then we need to do is make a quaternion, right? So axis angle to quaternion, and then we need to make vector 4 here. Make vector 4. There could be an easy way of doing this that's not so mind-bending, but yeah. For intents and purposes, I'm just trying to show you what variables can be altered to change the animations and whatnot. So this is more about showing you the the blending between animations. So we have animation A and animation B, and we're blending between the two of them. So up vector, and this will be our angle. So axis angle just basically means if we hover, takes an axis and an angle. So this is the axis, and then this is the angle. So it's not that bad. Apply, and then right here we have a bit of foot sliding going on. So what is going on here? Because we they're randomly the blend has been randomly assigned. We need to actually calculate the blend based on the walking speed. So let's do that. Make sure blend animation is blend anim alpha. Okay, so we need to set that. So on up. Well, they're not changing their walking pace at all, but I don't know. Let's put it in update anyway. So blend. Oh, I'm setting set parameters. Set new or existing parameter directly, and we want to set our blend and alpha, and we need to divide our walking walking speed to our max walking speed. Okay. Let's have a wee look-see, shall we? Ah, there we go. Everyone seems to be walking just nicely. Alright, what is, let's amp up the amount of people. 100 by 100, that's 10,000. And it handles that spiffingly, I would say. Let's have a wee look at our stat unit. It's clamping at 60, but you can look at the GPU time. The GPU is 9 milliseconds, and if we're looking at the sky, the GPU is 7 milliseconds. So it's doing this in a couple of milliseconds, doing all this in a couple of milliseconds. So you can have 10,000 people. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Bye.